Are you ready to change your habits, sculpt your destiny, and light up your path to greatness? Welcome to the epicenter of transformation. This is Mick Unplugged. We'll help you identify your because, so you can create a routine that's not just productive, but powerful. You'll embrace the art of evolution, adapt strategies to stay ahead of the game, and take a step toward the extraordinary. So let's unleash your potential. Now, here's Mick.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode. And today, we are honored to have a true legend. We're talking about former NFL player, Clemson University icon, dynamic motivational speaker, and elite sports performance trainer. His foundation transformed lives by supporting kids and family, and his powerful motto, dream big, live big, ignites inspiration across the world. His dedication, passion, and relentless drive make him a source of hope and motivation. Please join me in welcoming Bamberg's finest, the unstoppable and inspirational Mr. Ricky Sapp. Ricky, how you doing today, brother?
Hey, man, I got to get you to be my hype man when I go speak, man.
Hey, Flavor ain't got nothing on me. Right?
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man, and thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
You know, I left out there that you wanted to be a Tar Heel, so we'll skip through that one.
Oh, please don't say that, man. I'm orange. I got orange blood in these veins now. That's it.
Man, so Rick, man, one of the things I love, and I've been a huge fan of yours forever. I mean, you know, I was telling you offline, I'm from Easley, just moved back to Easley, which is 5 minutes down 123 from where you're at. Bro, I started following you on LinkedIn probably 3-4 years, before COVID. And your Monday motivation and Ricky Sapp dancing. Like, I'm telling everybody, number one, follow Ricky on all social platforms, because if you just need happiness in your life, forget everything else. Ricky's a huge source of happiness, man. So I just wanted to applaud you for that.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about Ricky Sapp's journey from Bamberg to Clemson to fifth round draft pick. Like, it doesn't happen, right? That's not a path that everybody can say, oh, I want to go do. And I know it took work, right? So growing up in Bamberg, like, where did you see yourself and what drove you to get to where you are today, brother?
My mom and dad worked at the same place in Orangeburg, South Carolina, at Husqvarna. Well, you know, South Carolina State Bulldog Stadium is in Orangeburg. One day, my mom was driving to go pick up my dad, and I was a young kid, man. I was going with her, and she drove by South Carolina State Bulldog Stadium. I've never seen anything like that. The only stadium I've ever seen was, my high school stadium, Bamberg High School. When I saw the stadium, man, when I tell you it lit something in me, that's where I started to dream big. I was like, Mom, what the heck is that? Like, what is that? And she told me what it was. And when she saw that excitement, she would take me by it every time I rode with her. So that was kind of started me to, like, open up to big things and dream big. Then I saw, my uncle and cousin playing football. And then being in Bamberg is a amazing sports town. It's a small town, prideful, all about working hard. So that kind of started me, man, into believing that I can go do something big, man. And when I got into playing football, I told my mom and dad, I said, look, I'm gonna go play in the NFL. And my mom and dad didn't say nothing. They just smiled and said, okay. So that's what kind of started me on this journey.
I love it, man. And so high school All-American, we can talk NIL now because it's real. So why Clemson, man? Like, how much more money did they give you than North Carolina? That's what. But no, so Clemson had a big tradition on defense, so I'm sure that was a lot, right? Daquan Bowers was there. What got Ricky to Clemson?
Man, I grew up a Florida State fan, but during my recruiting process, I came to Clemson. The guy before me at Bamberg, he was getting recruited, so he brought me to a game in Clemson. But then when I started getting recruited, of course, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Clemson, go to Carolina. And then, that school in Columbia. We can't call it Carolina. But I came to Clemson, man, and every time I came back, I kept telling my coaches and parents, I was like, man, I feel something when I go there. I don't know what it is, but it's something. So every time I would come, I would say, hey, man, I want to go back. I want to go back. Something special there. So eventually, man, I fell in love with the place. It came down to here, Florida State and Georgia. And I said, man, I'm going to go to Clemson. If I had to do it again, I'll pick Clemson again, man. I really would.
I'm telling you, especially now with that IPTAY NIL, you probably would.
Well, it's something in the hills over here in Clemson, man. It's something, you should have stayed right here. It's something in the hills, man.
No, sir. UNC, the real Carolina is where I went.
Oh man, that's a shame they can't beat this team over here in South Carolina, man.
We'll talk later. So then freshman year at Clemson, I'm sure, right, for most people that don't understand, being the big dog, I mean, and you were the big dog, right? Like high school All-American, right?
Yeah.
And then getting to Clemson your freshman year and you realize these are almost like grown men. Like, what was that like for you your freshman year? Like those first 3 to 4 weeks of, wow, I'm here.
Man, seeing Gaines Adams, God bless his soul, and Anthony Waters and Tremaine Billy and, man, all those guys, man, I was like, I did not expect these guys to be, like you said, grown men. And I heard of Gaines and heard how good he was, but to come in and see that, man, it was wild. But they put me under their wings, man, especially Gaines, and it was an amazing first year to play behind him and watch him play and to see how he did things, man. It was truly amazing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I tell people in life, mentorship is truly important, right? Like, because, Les Brown always taught me this. People will tell you experience is the best teacher. Well, if you're experienced losing, then you're just a loser, right? To me, it's wisdom that's the best teacher. And so I know someone like Gaines had to give you so much wisdom so that when it was your time, you were like steps ahead of everyone because you had wisdom. Like what would you say to people as far as mentorship and the importance of mentorship?
Oh, man. I'll tell you this. It's so important to find people that have, just like you said, that have been through things and that has done things that you want to do or doing things now you want to do. Mm-hmm. So that's so important. I tell you this, I always tell kids this: winners win, losers lose. I think if you want to win, you got to be around winners. So having a mentor is so powerful, man. And I didn't learn that until I got to Clemson and even got older, that it was important to have one. Gaines didn't have to mentor me, man. He didn't. He was on his way out. Right. But he literally brought me in and, he literally coached me along the way and was telling me what to do, not to do, how to go about doing things daily with football and off of the football field. So mentorship is important, man.
Yeah. In South Carolina, we're hard workers, right? Like that's what we believe in. Like that's anyone that's from this state, I promise you, probably outworks everybody, right? Oh, yeah. Shout out to everybody in South Carolina, right?
Facts, 100%.
Right. Talk about that, right? Your work ethic is so impeccable. So for you going from freshman to now you're starting and then ultimately getting drafted in the NFL, it doesn't happen without a solid work ethic, man. So I'd love to hear your story on that because it's something you're continuing to do today.
My mom and dad went to work, rain, sleet, or snow. And when you're a kid, you don't know, man. You like, man, we don't got enough. We need more. But my mom and dad, and I had way more than I needed. But when you're a kid, you just don't know. My mom and dad went to work, rain, sleet, or snow. They didn't complain. They didn't say, I don't want to go to work. They went to work, man. And, kids don't listen to nothing, but everything we see, we go do it without even thinking about it. So that's where my hard work kind of came from. And then, of course, getting around my cousin and uncle and then getting around guys, at Bamberg in high school and starting to understand that, man, I got to work, man. I got to work. And then, sports teaches you how to compete, how to work hard, and how to be disciplined. So along my journey, man, I've just learned that, man, I gotta work. I gotta work one day at a time.
That's it. You brought up something else too that I think is relevant, not only in sports, but in business and in life. And that's competing. And, I get a little disappointed, right? Like my family will tell you I'm the biggest competitor that they know. Like my whole family is competitive. Again, it's a South Carolina thing, right? But I feel like kids today, and not even kids, but just people today don't like competing. Like they're okay being average and they're okay being a part of the group. And as long as the group is doing the thing, they're okay doing the thing. But man, like that competing and striving to be the best, I think is something that's truly needed in this world. And I've heard you speak about that too.
Well, I just spoke on that a couple of days ago, man. I truly think that God intended for us to, be competitive and compete, but to compete in the right way. And this is what I mean. All of us got gifts. All of us know what we're good at. When I play football, I know one of my gifts was I had a fast get off. So I knew if I was confident in that and worked on that I was going to beat your behind eventually. I was going to get you, knowing what I was good at. Yep. Healthy competition, man. And oftentimes today, people don't want to compete. If they do compete, they're going to do it the wrong way. They're going to try and harm you, or they're going to try and cut corners. Instead of just saying, all right, I know what I'm good at. Let's go to war. Let's go to war. I'm going to use my gift, and I'm going to sharpen it. I'm going to work it. And eventually, I'm gonna get you. So competition is amazing, and it brings the best out of us when we do it the right way.
I totally love that, man. Like one of my really good friends and mentor, Carl Lester Crumpler, he was on the podcast and we were talking about how iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
It's not iron polishes iron. It's really about sharpening iron, right? Like, what does Ricky feel about that, right? Because to really compete, to really get better, there's got to be some friction. There's got to be some heat. There's got to be some sparks, but it's all about getting better.
Yes. So getting around, like I said earlier, getting around people that kind of does the same thing you do. Most people run from competition. So I'll give you an example, man. I'm a huge fan of Les Brown and Eric Thomas and all those guys. And when I watch them, I'm thinking to myself, all right, man, what can I take from this? Or how can I get better? Mm-hmm. And I just say this, man, and I never knew what I was going to say this. Man, when I got into the motivational speaking world, Eric Thomas was like one of the first guys. And he's my number one guy. I love him. As of now, as I'm watching him and thinking about this whole motivational speaking thing, I'm thinking, how can I go take his spot the right way? How can I take his spot? Oh, you get me excited. How can I take his spot the right way?
Let's go.
But understanding and respecting him, like, man, he's a guy. But that don't mean I can't get around him. I mean, I can learn from him.
Right.
But if he was standing here today, I would say, hey, man, you my guy. I love you, but I'm coming for your spot, and I'm coming for your spot the right way.
Dude, like literally, I'm going to get you on a call with me and Les because we have that type of conversation and drive and push with each other all the time. He's like, hey, I didn't order an Uber, right? Because he knows I'm coming from. I'm like, don't worry, I am the Uber, right? Like, I'll be there in a minute. So totally get that, man. So speaking of your motivational speaking, how did your journey from high school, college, NFL, how did that influence your approach to motivational speaking?
Man, I took speech classes growing up. My mom used to have to tell me to take a deep breath and then talk. I talked really fast when I was young, still do it sometimes, and I was stuttering. I hated public speaking at Clemson. I never thought about being a motivational speaker, never, ever. When I transitioned out of the NFL, I went to this high school called North Miami Beach High School. Well, a guy asked me to come speak. Never spoke in my life. He asked me in the Quan Bowers to come speak. And I was like, man, I don't know. What do I do? So I took stuff from Ray Lewis and Brian Dawkins and some other guys. Took a quote from J.J. Watt, went and spoke, and they loved it. It was like, man, we love it. It's awesome. You should be a motivational speaker. I didn't think nothing of it. Long story short, after that, I started speaking, randomly. And then this lady came up to me one day and said, hey, we lost our speaker. Would you speak? After that, man, I started speaking. And then that's when God was like, hey, you supposed to be a motivational speaker. And I'm like, what? So I asked God, I said, well, what's the message? What do I tell people? So that's kind of how I got into motivational speaking, man. Never thought I'd be doing it.
Hey, but you're making a tremendous impact. I mean, like I said, your Monday motivations, whether you were, dancing in the house or dancing on the beach, dancing in front of freaking Smoothie King. You got the young ones dancing with you. I love it, man. Like truly everybody should be following Ricky. And one of the things I want to highlight, and it's something that's dear to me as well, is your foundation, man. Like, what inspired you to create the Ricky Sapp Foundation?
Out of my friends, man, and just my whole group of friends and family, I was always one of the ones that just loved to give, man. Out of your circle, everybody's different. Me, I'm gonna tell you the good and bad about me as a friend. I'm not gonna show up a lot because I'm a introvert, extrovert. I'd rather be alone and chilling.
Right.
But if they need to show off my back, I'll give it to them. And I was always a giver, man. So when I got drafted in 2010, my financial advisor, he said, look, man, let's start a foundation, man, that makes sense for you. And I said, let's do it. So we started the Ricky Sapp Foundation, of course, with the model Dream Big, Live Big. We started in 2010 and, had one thought in mind. That was just give back to my community. At the time, I didn't know that I was supposed to be doing motivational speaking and working with kids. I didn't know. I just wanted to play, football. So it all kind of makes sense that I was supposed to have that foundation and supposed to be, giving back and working with kids.
Yeah. I love it, man. Like, what are some of the big goals or big initiatives that you guys have coming up this year and into next year at the foundation?
Yeah, so we just had the annual football cheerleading camp. Everything's free. We do book bags as well. So I kill, two things at one stone. We do book bags and give out awards and all that good stuff. So we just had that. The next thing that we have is we'll do a Thanksgiving event where we give out turkey boxes to families. And I'm not like My foundation, I don't do 100, 1,000. I go into the schools and find out the families that need it. So that's what we typically do. And then for Christmas, I should have sent you a photo for this, but I wear the Buddy the Elf costume, and oh yeah, man, we find families that need gifts, and I go around and give out gifts. So that's the next 2 big events that we got coming up for the year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm personally going to contribute to that.
Oh,
and then
man,
I'm also going to challenge some listeners and viewers as well, too. So I'm going to have links to Ricky's foundation, but I'm genuinely going to contribute because what you're doing in the foundation speaks to my heart. And it's something that if I can be a part of, I'm going to be a part of. So you got me on your side, brother.
That means a lot, man. Thank you. Thank you.
You got it. You got it. So dream big, live big, man. Like, how do you incorporate that into your daily life, and how can others do that as well, too?
Getting up every day and knowing that if I got air in my lungs and I'm breathing, then, man, I can do something big, man. I can do something big because there's a reason why, that we are still here every day that we're here. And my motto is with the dream big, live big is that, man, why not dream big? Why not? Because if we are here, and I'm a strong believer that, God gave all of us gifts. So, man, I believe that every day I wake up that I should try and strive to do something big. If that's just encouraging a kid to dream big, then hey, I did it. I did it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. So a lot of folks that listen to the podcast, right? Like, we really believe in going deeper than your why and getting fueled by your because life is going to challenge, right? Like if life were easy, if everybody could be billionaires, then everybody would be billionaires, right? But there's different obstacles and challenges that we have. So what are some tips and advice that Ricky has for people to really be fueled by that deeper purpose or for that deeper purpose?
Whatever you are passionate about, you have to chase it. You have to chase it because your passion will lead you to your purpose. I truly believe that. So I always tell people, man, if you don't know what your purpose is, then what are you passionate about? If you don't know what you're passionate about, what do you like doing? If you don't know what you like doing, then you need to figure out, you need to try things. I told some kids here at Clemson, I said, try things, man. Go visit places, man. Try coloring, try drawing, try doing something. But your passion is going to guide you to your purpose. And as a 37-year-old man, I look back before I got into this motivational speaking thing and encouraging kids. I always had passion and so much drive to encourage people, but didn't even, pay attention to it. Football was all I was thinking about. So my advice to people was like, man, what are you passionate about? Chase that, because that's going to lead you right into your purpose. And then that's going to, ultimately make you happy. The desires of your heart, whatever you desire in your heart, man, chase it.
That is it. That's it. So we talked about the foundation. We talked about your journey. Like, what's new and upcoming for Ricky Sapp?
Man, so I dropped my book in April, and my book is called Dream Big, and it's for kids 1st to 5th grade. I did that, man. And the next for me is a second book that I'm going to try and drop by the end of the year. And then, of course, as school is getting started, man, just ramping up and traveling around the world, man, speaking.
I love it. We'll make sure that we have links to the book, obviously the foundation, all your social as well. Where do you want people to find you, follow you, and wrapping this up? What's one thing you want people to just start doing right now?
Love, man. We need love. We need to love each other. We talked about competition, healthy competition, man. It's okay to compete with each other. We have to understand that even though we go disagree, we can still love each other, man. Man, Mike, I can still say, man, listen, man, even though you're a Tar Heel fan, I love you, and you invited to my cookout. I don't care about you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you're invited to mine, but we have a no orange policy in my house. I'm just
See, I was gonna say, man, you can wear some of that blue, man. That's all right. But
see, you're a better man than me. Like I'm trying to get there, Rick. I'm trying to get there. One day I'll let orange be okay, but it's not right now.
But yeah, man, we need love, man. We need to love, and right now more than ever, as adults, we can stand up and show out and show these kids what it looks like to be adult as far as loving each other, showing how to love, not bullying each other, showing how we can have conversations when we disagree on things, man, the right way. So more than ever, man, we need love. This world needs love, and love covers everything. I really do. And I think love will heal this world. I truly believe that. Yeah.
I couldn't have said it any better. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Bamberg's finest, the amazing Ricky Sapp. Ricky, thank you for joining us on Mick Unplugged, brother. This means the world to me.
Thank you for having me, brother. It means a lot.
You got it. And for all the listeners, remember, your because is your superpower. Go unleash it.
Thanks for listening to Mick Unplugged. We hope this episode helps you take the next step toward the extraordinary and launches a revolution in your life. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast, and be sure to check us out on YouTube at Mick Unplugged. Remember, stay empowered, stay inspired, and stay unplugged.